Evening and welcome to the Town Board of the Town of Ossining regular meeting for Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we are going to start this evening with a public hearing on local law 1 of 2021 to amend chapter 200 of the town code zoning to create beekeeping regulations in the town of Ossining.
We have to do roll call.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why. Okay, I thought roll call was after the public hearing.
It's
Let's do
okay.
the roll call. Thank you.
Councilmember Feldman,
Present.
Councilmember Shaw,
Present.
Councilmember Meyer,
Present.
Councilmember Wiltshire,
Present.
Supervisor Levenberg.
I'm here.
Okay, now.
Are you ready for the public hearing? Okay. So we're reopening two public hearings this evening for proposed legislation that we have been working on for a couple of months relating to beekeeping and battery energy storage. We have resolutions on our agenda later in the evening for to adopt these two local laws, anticipating little to no comment. After quite a few months of talking and researching beekeeping, we feel we have a solid draft to move forward to adoption. As we've mentioned before, our hope is to make it legal to keep bees in Ossining, as we understand that there are people or entities who have been keeping them for some time. So we want to make sure that we do allow them to be legal. We utilize local laws from neighboring or like communities, similar communities, to draft our version, and we responded to the feedback that we received. And we think that we have what I would say is a good compromise. So right now we're opening up the public hearing for any additional comment. I will ask our planner, Valerie Monastra from Nelson Pope Voorhees, if she has any comments before we open it up to the public.
No, I don't. I do believe that this, the current law actually incorporates many of the comments we received throughout the process. And I also think it also incorporates feedback we received also from the town board. So I think it's a good compromise. And I do think that this law will be successful within the town.
Great. And with that, is there anybody here who would like to comment on the beekeeping legislation, the local law? And if so, could you raise your virtual hand and we will allow you to speak?
Okay, yes, we have one person. I'm going to hit allow to talk. Donna, you should be good to go.
Yeah. Okay, now you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes. Now we can
Different
hear
way to operate. All right. So I have no objections, and I just wanted to thank the board for a lot of work that you put into this. I think it's just really amazing that you're willing to put so much discussion into something about insects is really cool. So I really appreciate that, and I do think that, as you said, it is a good compromise, and as has been stated before, if there were problems in the future, that could be addressed. But the big issue here is that you added mitigation measures by adding that floral resources for the bees, which will help the native bees, and they're really towards the foundation of our ecosystem. So not many people think about them much, and I'm really, really jazzed that you guys are putting that in the law. So thank you so much. And I thank you on behalf of all of those little winged beings that are flying around all over the place. Maybe not today.
Well, thank you. And thanks for all the good work that you do for our environment and for the town on a daily basis, Donna. We really appreciate your input. And as I've mentioned before, we're always listening. We may not always be able to get to every point, but we hope, again, to reach a solid compromise that everybody could live with. And like you said, it's a jumping off point. It's a place to start, and it can be tweaked if need be as we go forward. So thank you again for your comments and your input. Anybody else here here to address the board? I do not believe there is anybody. So with that, I will take a motion to close the public hearing for local law number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Wonderful. Up next, we have our public hearing on local law number 2 of 2021 to amend chapter 200 zoning of the town code. Is that my house? To regulate battery energy storage systems. I hope my house isn't like on fire or something. I don't know what that sound is. Continuing with our public hearings, we now have our battery energy storage systems local law. Again, we have held several public hearings on this topic and anticipate closing the public hearing and adopting the legislation later this evening. Is there anyone here to address the board? Before we do that, let me just ask, ask Valerie Manastra if you have any comments before we open it up for public comment.
No, I just wanted to remind the public again that this is based off of a model law from NYSERDA, and we did minimal tweaking to the local law, but it's a good law, and I think it will also help with current and future applications dealing with battery energy storage.
Fantastic. So again, I will open it up to the public. If there's anybody here to address the board on local law number 2 of 2021. Seeing nobody? My house doesn't seem to be exploding. So with that, could I have a motion to close the public hearing on local law number 2?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And we move into announcements. So first things first, I would like to extend our thanks to the Highway, Parks, and Cemetery departments for their work today, and I am sure tonight with the snow. The weather report is never a sure thing, but our crews are ready regardless of whether we are getting a light dusting or a few feet. So thank you to Highway Superintendent Pete Connolly and Foreman Kevin Moore and the entire team for their work in the storm. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Valerie Manastra for all her hard work on drafting all those local laws. So thanks to her, and also to our council, Christy Tomadonna. I know that you guys both worked so hard on that, as well as the resolutions for this evening, and I didn't appropriately thank you when we were talking about those local laws. So wanted to do that. On a similar note, I wanted to highlight some of the changes taking place at Sally Swope Sitting Park. Our parks foreman, Mario Velardo, and his crew in the Parks Department have been undertaking the restoration of the park, removing invasive species, adding drainage and paths that will make it easier to maintain and enjoy on a regular basis. They worked with T-Town to discuss the best plan and best options for the paths, as well as which of the invasives were to be removed in order to have the most successful long-term impact. If you see it now, it might not look like much, but I have been assured that it is going to look fantastic when things start to grow back and when we have a way to keep up and maintain the park on a regular basis. So we are hopeful that it'll be ready for a spring reopening, as we know how much everyone is taking advantage of all of our public open spaces. However, to meet this ambitious goal, the Parks team has had to brave the cold for the past few weeks. I am excited to see the appreciation for our department circulating on social media. The town of Austin has over 130 acres of parkland, and we are so proud of the work that our crews do daily to keep our favorite green spaces beautiful, our fields, courts, buildings, and pavilions maintained too. So big shout out to them. Another town department update comes from our tax receiver, Holly Perlowitz. The second half of 2020-2021 school tax bills is due by January 31st, 2021. But since that is a Sunday, payment can be made by February 1st without penalty. Taxpayers can pay online through the Express Pay option on the town website. You can also pay by mail or drop off your envelope with a stamp at the dedicated tax office mail slot at the Austin Post Office. It's by the old place that we used to just put our regular mail. It's right next to where you can slip your regular mail. There's a special slot just for paying your taxes. You can even pay your Village of Austin taxes, which are also due the 31st. And you can pay your water bill there as well. Don't forget the stamp. If you would like to pay in person, you are welcome to come to the municipal building at 16 Croton Avenue in Austin during our public office hours from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. The Honorable Holly Perlitz and her staff are very helpful. If you have any questions, you can call them at 914-762-8790 or email taxreceiver@townofaustin.com. Make it a double play and pay your Village of Austin first half taxes at the same time. Do you have high heating bills this winter? If so, join the Energy Smart Homes Austin and Briarcliff launch webinar this Thursday, January 28th from 7 p.m. to 8:30. You can discover customized clean heating and cooling solutions for your home, understand how energy efficiency can save you money and energy, plus learn about financial incentives and rebates offered by NYSERDA and Con Ed. Join the webinar on Thursday, January 28th to meet the contractors and hear from some of our neighbors who have happily reduced their energy bills with geothermal, mini splits, and insulation. Save money while saving the earth. To RSVP to the webinar, go to sustainablewestchester.org/webinar, or you can call 914-242-4725, extension 122, and I think that takes you to Lauren Royce, who has been a tremendous asset. Energy Smart Homes Austin and Briarcliff is a collaboration between the town of Austin, that's us, Villages of Austin and Briarcliff, and wonderful local volunteers from Green Austin and the Briarcliff Sustainability Committee, all in partnership with Sustainable Westchester. And we all came together to for a press conference this past weekend at the farmers market to talk about the launch of this program, which we are hoping to be very successful. If you don't think it's for you, please pass it on. And there is, it's not just for homeowners, it's also for renters, and there are lots of incentives for renters as well. Unfortunately, we cannot have announcements these days without discussing COVID-19. Last week, we passed the first anniversary of a COVID-19 case being diagnosed in the US. On January 20th, 2020, a test came back positive from a patient in Washington State. It wasn't until March 1st that the virus was diagnosed in New York. It is heart-wrenching to think of all that has happened since that time. As we begin to pass these anniversaries, the dates Broadway shut down, our second round of quarantined birthdays, I ask all residents to remain hopeful and vigilant. Austin is a wonderful, friendly community, and we are in a unique position because of the respect that we have for one another. Local groups have organized book drives, food distributions, drive-in movies, car parades, mini food pantry, virtual events, and so much more. Let's all commit to continuing to support our neighbors as we work through this. Wear your masks, even double up. That's what they're saying now, right? Wave hello, call and text your friends, and ask for help if you need it. We still cannot hug each other, but we are here for one another, and we are all in this together. I know a lot of people are concerned about vaccines. The president has indicated that the new administration is prioritizing ramping up production, but that it will take some time for supply to catch up with demand. We did hear an announcement late today that the goal is to have to ramp up the production of the vaccine and to have the entire population vaccinated by this summer. So maybe we can have fireworks after all. I don't know, fingers crossed. Let's just hope. As soon as we can help with distribution here in Austin, we will. We have been speaking with the county, and we know that we, along with so many of our other Westchester communities, are ready to help when the supply is at hand. We are considering a lot of different methods of reaching our residents, and we hope to be ready to go as soon as more vaccines are allocated to New York State. We were on a call today with the Urban County, the Urban County Consortium. Is that right? Yeah.
It was the Urban County Council?
Urban County Council, no, I can't, the consortium. Anyway, this is our community development block grant group, the Urban County Council, yeah. And we are all working together to look at how we can spend the CARES money. The county really takes the lead on this, but the Urban County Council gets to weigh in, and it's 30 communities in Westchester that are part of the council. And there is going to be another round of CDBG funding that's going to be coming around, but also there is COVID funding that's coming through this stream. The CARES funding is coming through there. And we did speak today about helping to distribute vaccines to our seniors who are homebound. So that is a possibility. We're not sure if we're going to need the CDBG funding for it, or if the Department of Health will be helping with that, but it is a consideration of how we can use some of that funding to help with some of the challenges that we are facing during COVID. And there were a lot of very good ideas that we shared as well as were shared. So we're going to continue to work on that. And luckily, testing availability has not been impacted. Appointments are available for testing on Sundays at the community center in Austining. You can register through the Westchester Medical Center website for that. Star of Bethlehem Church is continuing to offer testing on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I think OVAC also has some testing is available at OVAC. Sorry, for Star, you can sign up at starbeth, B as in boy, C as in cat.org. Residents can also use the New York State website feature called Find a Test Site Near You to help residents schedule appointments at Open Door, CVS, Health Smart Pharmacy, and many other local sites. And I actually saw that on the state website. I believe you can order a test to be delivered to your home now too, and do your own self-test. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but then you do not have to leave your home, presumably, to get the test. And also, I heard that Mike Risco is going to be celebrating their 26th anniversary this weekend, doing a little ribbon cutting at their store. They've had many changes, and we have a proclamation for them for their ribbon cutting this Saturday. Not exactly sure, but I think it's on Facebook. It might be at 11 a.m. or it might be at 1 p.m. I can't remember, but check it out, and hopefully you'll be able to celebrate this beloved local institution and wonderful local business who does so much to support the community. Do any of my board colleagues have any announcements to share? Okay, and I see nobody having any, so we can move into liaison reports then. Are there any liaison reports?
Just one for the Police Reform and Reinvention Committee. We will be presenting a draft to the village board on Wednesday. I think the consultants will be presenting, and one person from each subgroup will be presenting. And then from there it goes on to public hearing, public comments, edits, and then final draft.
Okay, fantastic. So that'll be an opportunity for us to weigh in. We appreciate that.
And then were you going to talk about the Energy Smart Homes event on Thursday?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Those are my announcements.
Okay, sorry. I didn't hear that you mentioned the event to sign up for, to join.
I did. Did everybody hear me?
I heard you talking about the program. I didn't hear you say that they can sign up to join in on the event.
Yes.
My mistake.
Where to go and sign up, but I'm happy to say it again, and I was actually even planning to talk about it again because there is a resolution for later in the meeting. But
Okay.
Once again, you can go to sustainablewestchester.org/webinar to register for the webinar, which is from 7 to 8:30 p.m. as mentioned this Thursday, or you can call Lauren Broyce at 914-242-4725 extension 122.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so I think I just lost my place a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so I think we're up to, there are no additional liaison reports. Okay, and hearing none, public comment on agenda items only. Agenda items. Is there anybody here to comment on any of the items on the agenda? You can raise your virtual hand if you would like to comment. Okay. And hearing none, we can move into our board resolutions. And Martha Kutasaka, please take us through.
Okay. Approval of minutes, reorganization and regular meeting, January 12th, 2021. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby approves the January 12th, 2021 minutes of the reorganization and regular meeting as presented.
Motion?
Second, so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you.
Approval of voucher detail report. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated January 26, 2021 in the amount of $181,397.77.
I have a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
A resolution authorizing the improvements to McCarthy Drive in and for the town of Austin, in Westchester County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,350,000 and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $2,350,000 serial bonds of said town to pay the cost thereof. Be it resolved by the affirmation of vote of not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the town board of the town of Austin in Westchester County, New York, as follows. Section 1, improvements to McCarthy Drive in and for the town of Austin in Westchester County, New York, including widening sidewalks, curves, gutters, drainage, landscaping, and other incidental improvements, is hereby authorized, subject to permissive referendum, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,350,000. Section 2, the plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is by the issuance of $2,350,000 serial bonds of said town, hereby authorized to be issued therefore pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law. Section 3, it is hereby determined that the period of probable usefulness for the aforesaid specific object or purpose is 15 years pursuant to subdivision 20 of paragraph A of section 11.00 of the local finance law. It is hereby further determined that the maximum maturity of the bonds herein authorized will exceed 5 years. Section 4, the faith and credit of said town of Austin, Westchester County, New York, are hereby irrevocably pledged for the payment of the principal of and interest of such bonds as the same respectively become due and payable, and annual appropriation shall be made in each year sufficient to pay the principal of and interest of such bonds becoming due and payable in such year. To the extent not paid from other sources, there shall annually be levied on all the taxable real property of said town a tax sufficient to pay to the principal of and interest of such bonds as the same become due and payable. Section 5, subject to the provisions of the local finance law, the power to authorize the issuance of and to sell bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of serial bonds herein authorized, including renewals of such notes, is hereby delegated to the supervisor, the chief fiscal officer. Such notes shall be of such terms, form, and contents, and shall be sold in such manner as may be prescribed by said supervisor, consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 6, all other matters except as provided herein relating to the serial bonds herein authorized, including the date, denominations, maturities, and interest payment dates, within the limitations prescribed herein, and the manner of execution of the same, including the consolidation with other issues, and also the ability to issue serial bonds with sustainably level or declining annual debt service, shall be determined by the supervisor, the chief fiscal officer of such town. Such bond shall contain substantially the recital of validity clause provided in section 52.0 of the local finance law, shall otherwise be in such form and contain such recitals in addition to those required by section 51.0 of the local finance law, as the supervisor shall determine consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 7, the validity of such bonds and bond anticipation notes may be contested only if 1, such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which said town is not authorized to expend money, or 2, the provisions of such law which should be compiled with at the date of publication of this resolution are not substantially complied with in an action suit or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication, and such obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 8, this regulation shall constitute a statement of official intent for the purposes of Treasury Regulation Sections 1.150-2, other than as specified in this resolution. No monies are reasonably expected to be reserved, allocated on a long-term basis, or otherwise set aside with respect to the permanent funding of the object or purpose described herein. Section 9, upon the resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in summary form in the official newspaper of said town for such purpose, together with a notice of the town clerk in substantially the form provided in section 81.0 of the local finance law. Section 10, the resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And thank you for reading that very detailed bond resolution. We appreciate that. So we heard from our town village engineer, Paul Fraioli, last week on the McCarthy Drive project, which has been in the works for quite some time. The project was bid in December of last year, and the low bid came in at $2.4 million. This is obviously a major capital improvement project in the town. It makes sense for the town to borrow funds at the current low rates to pay for the project over time. And we think that it's a much needed project, as we've mentioned before, that this road was identified as a public road some years ago. So this resolution is authorizing the town to issue bonds associated with this project. A portion of the project is the replacement of the water main in the road. Per the town and village's water IMA, the cost will be paid for by the Village of Austin's Water Fund, reducing the town's cost burden to $1.8 million, plus the construction administration of $150,000. So that plus adding in some contingency, because you cannot borrow more, but you can borrow less, brings up the level of the bonds to 2.35 million. That's what's included in this resolution. There are a few other resolutions relating to this project on our agenda a little bit later as we lay the groundwork for getting it off the ground. Do I have, oh no, so
Can we
that's it.
do this because it has to be approved by a
It has
two-thirds
to-
majority?
yeah, so
Let's do a
by-
two-thirds. Excuse me, let's do a roll call vote.
So Councilmember Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Feldman,
Aye.
Councilmember Meyer,
Aye.
Councilmember Wiltshire,
Aye.
Supervisor Levenberg.
Aye.
Okay. A resolution authorizing the purchase of an electric bus for the nutrition program in and for the town of Austin in Westchester County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $207,311, and authorizing the issuance of 132,311 serial bonds of said town to pay part of the cost thereof. Be it resolved by the affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the town board of the town of Austin in Westchester County, New York, as follows. Section 1, the purchase of an electric bus for the nutrition program in and for the town of Austin in Westchester County, New York is hereby authorized at a maximum estimated cost of $207,311. Section 2, it is hereby determined that the plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is as follows. A, by the issuance of $132,311 bonds of the town hereby authorized to be issued therefore pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law, and by the application of grant monies to be received in connection therewith, presently estimated the amount of $75,000. Section 3, it is hereby determined that the period of probable uselessness of the aforementioned specific object or purpose is 5 years, pursuant to subdivision 29 of paragraph A of section 11.00 of the local finance law. It is hereby further determined that the maximum maturity of the bonds herein authorized will not exceed 5 years. The faith and credit of said town of Austin in Westchester County, New York, are hereby irrevocably pledged for the payment of the principal of and interest of such bonds as the same respectively became due and payable, and annual appropriation shall be made in each year sufficient to pay the principal of and interest of such bonds becoming due and payable in such year. There shall annually be levied on all the taxable real property in said town a tax sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on such bonds as the same become due and payable. Section 5, subject to the provision of the local finance law, the power to authorize the issuance of and to sell bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of the bonds herein authorized, including renewals of such notes, is hereby delegated to the supervisor of said town, the chief fiscal officer. Such notes shall be on such terms, forms, and contents, and shall be sold in such manner as may be prescribed by said supervisor, consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 6, all other matters except as provided herein relating to the bonds herein authorized, including the date, denominations, maturities, and interest payment dates, within the limitations prescribed herein, and the manner of execution of the same, including the consolidation with other issues, and also the ability to issue bonds of substantially level or declining annual debt service, shall be determined by the supervisor, the chief fiscal officer of such town. Such bond shall contain substantially the recital validity clause provided for in section 52.00 of the local finance law, and shall otherwise be in such form and contain such recitals in addition to those required by section 51.00 of the local finance law. The supervisor shall determine consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 7, the validity of such bonds and bond anticipation notes may be contested only if 1, such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which said town is not authorized to expend money, Or 2, the provisions of law shall be complied with at the date of publication of this resolution and are not substantially complied with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such revocation. Or 3, such obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 8, this resolution shall constitute a statement of official intent for purposes of Treasury regulations. Section 1.1502, other than as specified in this resolution, no monies are reasonably expected to be reserved, allocated on a long-term basis, or otherwise set aside with respect to the permanent funding of the object of purpose described herein. Section 9, upon this resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in summary form in the official newspaper of said town designated for such purpose, together with the notice of the town clerk and substantially the form provided in section 81.00 of the local finance law. Section 10, this resolution takes effect immediately.
Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Thank you again to our Deputy Clerk Kudasaka for that wonderful reading of a very, very long resolution. So we received a community development block grant last year. I was just talking about our meeting this morning, but this was from a few years ago that we started working on this, and that was through the county's Urban County Council Consortium to purchase a fully electric bus for our senior nutrition program. Unfortunately, the grant only pays for $75,000 toward the cost of the bus. We had hoped to get some additional grant funding through the state or the federal government to contribute to the purchase, but unfortunately, we did not qualify for any of the other grant opportunities that we learned about. So we are going to borrow for the remainder of the cost of the bus, and we hope to get the bus on the road very soon. Very soon being probably 7 months. So that's how long it takes to get it on the road from now, at least not even now, but when we get past our estoppel period. So we're looking forward to that in the not too distant future, very soon. Hopefully, again, as I mentioned before, that'll be when we're out of our pandemic mode and into being able to take our seniors around to various and sundry places, including our community center. So with that, all those in favor, and we need to do this again by roll call vote.
I'm actually not sure. Didn't say roll call, but we'll just do a roll call.
By 2/3, so let's just be safe.
Yeah, just to
Just be safe. Okay. Let me see. Councilmember Wiltshire,
Aye.
Councilmember Feldman,
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Meyer,
Aye.
Supervisor Levenberg.
aye.
Finance Capital Project number 2021 -5228, 2021 McCarthy Drive Road Rehabilitation Town Highway. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austin authorizes opening a 2021 capital project number 2021-5228 entitled 2021 McCarthy Drive Road Rehabilitation for the Town Highway Department with project budget of $2,350,000. This project will be funded from debt obligations.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
So this is establishing the capital project for McCarthy Drive, which sets it up properly on our books and another step towards awarding the bid and getting shovels in the ground. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Finance Capital Project number 2021-5229, 2021 Nutrition Electric Bus Town Nutrition. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austin authorizes opening a 2021 capital project number 2021-5229 entitled 2021 Nutrition Electric Bus for the Town Nutrition Department with a project budget of $207,311. The project will be funded from debt obligations and CDBG grant funds.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
So another resolution on the bus, also establishing the capital project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Resolution Local Law Number 1 of 2021 Beekeeping Regulations. Whereas currently beekeeping is not permitted in the town code, but recognizing that these activities can be beneficial to the environment and that property owners may desire to engage in them, the town board considered adopting a local law to permit these activities while also implementing regulations to ensure they are done in a safe and reasonable manner that does not present a hazard or inconvenience to the property owner, its neighbors, the community, or the environment. And whereas in furtherance of this objective and in consideration of the local laws, the town board opened a duly noticed public hearing at its regular meeting on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, which public hearing was duly continued to several subsequent meetings via video conferencing in accordance with the governor's executive orders 202.1 and 202.15, subsequently extended, and members of the public having the opportunity to attend and be heard. The public hearing was closed on January 26, 2021. And whereas a short environmental assessment form, Part 1, was prepared pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SCQRA, and whereas pursuant to the New York General Municipal Law, the local law was referred to the Westchester County Planning Board, which responded by letter dated October 2nd, 2020. The said local law was a matter for local determination in accordance with the town's planning and zoning policies. And whereas said local law has been at the desk of the members of the town board for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday, prior to the adoption of this resolution, and now therefore be resolved, the town board hereby adopts a negative declaration pursuant to the SCQRA, determining this action does not have the potential to have any significant adverse environmental impacts, as a local law will permit the environmentally beneficial activity of beekeeping while including regulations to ensure there are no adverse impacts to the property owners, the neighbors, the community, or the environment. And be it further resolved, the town board, after due deliberation, finds that in the furtherance of the safety, health, and well-being of the persons of property in the town, it is in the best interest of the town to adopt said local law, and the town board hereby adopts local law number 1 of 2021 entitled Amendment to the Town of Austin Zoning Code to allow and regulate beekeeping. And be it further resolved, the town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting into the local law books of the town of Boston, to publish said minutes in a newspaper published in the town, if any, or in such newspaper published in the county in which such town may be located, having a circulation in such town. And affidavits of said publication shall be filed with the town clerk, and to file a copy of said local law with the Secretary of State of New York.
Awesome. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So, as I stated earlier, in anticipation of any comments on the final draft of our beekeeping local law, and after many months of discussions, we are very excited to be adopting this legislation this evening. As with every piece of legislation, it's not perfect, but we feel it is a solid start that will hopefully address most of the needs of beekeepers and concerns of the community. So once again, thank you to our town planner, Valerie Manastra, for all your hard work on this local law. And of course, to our resident beekeeper on Team Town, our assessor, Fernando Gonzalez, for all of his help and guidance too. And also thank you to Christy Tomadonna for drafting the resolution. Very much obliged. So we have a great team. We are hopeful to have safe beekeeping here in the town of Ossining. Do we have to do this by roll call vote? Okay, let's go.
Councilmember Wiltshire? Councilmember Wiltshire?
Guy, I'm sorry. That was reading.
It's okay. Do you vote aye?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Councilmember Feldman?
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw? Councilmember Meyer? Supervisor Levenberg?
Aye.
Oh, okay.
And before we move on, I'm sorry, I just didn't give an opportunity to my colleagues on the board. Did anybody want to make any other comments about this beekeeping legislation? Any
It's
discussion?
okay. No.
Did you want to say something? You could certainly say something now. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution local law number 2, 2021, battery energy storage systems regulations. Whereas as communities look for new ways to create and store energy, the town board is aware that battery energy storage systems are becoming more prevalent, and that while serving a benefit to the community, they must be regulated to ensure that they're constructed and operate in a safe and reasonable manner that does not present a hazard or inconvenience to the property owner, its neighbors, or community environment. And whereas in furtherance of this objective, the town board considered a local law to regulate battery energy storage system within the town of Ossining. And whereas in consideration of the proposed local law, the town board opened a duly noticed public hearing at its regular meeting on Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, which public hearing was duly continued to the town board's regular meeting on Tuesday, January 26, 2021, via video conferencing in accordance with the governor's executive orders 202.1 and 202.15, and subsequently extended, and members of the public having the opportunity to attend and be heard. The public hearing was closed on January 26, 2021. And whereas a short environmental assessment form, Part 1, was prepared pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, And whereas pursuant to New York General Municipal Law, the local law was referred to the Westchester County Planning Board, which responded by letter dated January 14th, 2021. The said local law was a matter for local determination according to the town's planning and zoning policies. And whereas said local law has been under the desks of the members of the town board for the last 7 days, for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday prior to the adoption of this resolution. And now therefore be resolved, the town board hereby adopts a negative declaration pursuant to SCQRA, determining this action does not have the potential to have any significant adverse environmental impacts, as the local law is to regulate the environmentally beneficial use of battery energy storage systems to ensure that no adverse impacts to the property owners, the neighbors, the community, or the environment. And be it further resolved, the town board, after due deliberation, finds that in the furtherance of the safety, health, and well-being of the persons and property in the town, it is the best interest of the town to adopt the local law, and the town board hereby adopts local law number 2 of 2021 for the purpose of amending chapter 200 zoning of the town code with respect to battery energy storage systems. And be it further resolved, the town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting into the local law book for the town of Austin, to publish said minutes in a newspaper published in the town, if any, or in such newspaper published in the county in which such town may be located, having a circulation in such town. And affidavits of said publication shall be filed with the town clerk, and to file a copy of said local law with the Secretary of State of New York.
I have a motion.
So moved. Well
Second.
done.
So our second local law, I'm happy to announce, is another one that is an environmentally friendly law. And that is for our battery energy storage, to allow battery energy storage in the town of Austin. It's also the product of many months of work, both behind the scenes and in public hearings. Increasing battery energy storage will help New York State meet its renewable energy goals. It's possible it's even an action, which I'm not sure, that will help us towards becoming a clean energy community. We're going to look into that. And as battery storage, the need for battery storage increases and we are available to offer it, the need to be part of the larger grid decreases. And available energy from renewable energy systems like solar and other types of energy are able to be stored off of the grid and help offset the drain on the grid during peak hours. So this is very good news for us here in Austin, and making it something that is predictable makes it more attractive for battery energy storage installers. So with that, is there any discussion from my board colleagues?
Oh, I'm just glad we got this on the books when we did, ahead of people making bigger systems, the way we did with this solar.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so with that, roll call vote.
Okay, Councilmember Wiltshire?
Yes.
Aye, okay.
Aye,
Councilmember
okay.
Councilmember Feldman?
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw?
Aye.
Councilmember Meyer?
Aye.
Supervisor Levenberg?
Aye.
I think this is the last really long resolution. Resolution recognizing Sustainable Westchester's Energy Smart Homes program to bring clean, sustainable heating and cooling alternatives to residents and businesses in our community. Whereas the town of Austin has been designated by the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, NYSERDA, as a clean energy community and climate smart community. And whereas the Austin Community Climate Action Plan calls for supporting energy efficient designs in clean heating and cooling technology projects, as well as reducing the volume and impact of energy consumption in the town of Austin and reducing the town's carbon footprint. And whereas NYSERDA estimates heating and cooling in buildings represent 37% of statewide net energy consumption and contribute 32% of New York State's combustion-related greenhouse gas emission. And whereas clean heating and cooling technologies such as cold climate air source heat pumps and ground source heat pumps, also known as geothermal heat pumps, have the potential to contribute significantly to the reducing greenhouse emissions of the heating and cooling sector. And whereas other benefits to those using clean heating and cooling technologies include energy bill savings and increased comfort levels and health benefits compared to conventional heating and cooling technologies. And whereas high energy burdens are part of a complex of economic, health, and housing issues, whereas Sustainable Westchester Energy Smart Homes Austin and Briarcliff is a nonprofit volunteer initiative in the town of Austin helping people switch to clean heating and cooling technologies and energy sufficient upgrades. And Whereas Energy Smart Homes is an initiative of substantial Westchester and has received funding and support from NYSERDA to administer a campaign. And whereas Energy Smart Homes is one of 18 similar community outreach programs in New York State, whereas Energy Smart Homes is modeled after successful Solarize and Energize campaigns, whereas clean heating and cooling technologies are already proven to work in Westchester, including products at the Austin Public Library and numerous residences, and whereas a successful Energy Smart Home Austin and Barcliffe campaign will help jumpstart a nascent market and drive increased capacity and interest in installing such systems, and whereas the installation of heat pump systems helps protect our environment by reducing the use of fossil fuels used to heat and cool our buildings and provides and creates new jobs in this emerging market. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Austin recognizes the Energy Smart Home Austin and Barcliffe initiative, bringing clean heating and cooling and energy efficiency technology to the residents and businesses in the town of Austin, and be it further resolved that the town of Austin will continue to take and support initiatives to create a sustainable Austin.
Do you have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay, so after you heard all of that, I know that you're all going to be very excited to tune in this Thursday evening. I'll give you more details after we vote. So as I shared in my announcements, we're excited to be participating and supporting the Energy Smart Homes Initiative, which is a partnership with Sustainable Westchester, Town of Austin, Village of Austin, Village of Briarcliff, and with tremendous support and initiative from Green Austin. Susie Ross, big shout out to you for all your help, and Dorian Burden for showing up this past weekend to our press conference, and also to the Sustainability Committee in Briarcliff. And Padma Sridhar was there, and we are very grateful for their partnership as well. They've been very involved in working to figure out how we can reach out to the most people to really start to impact the efficiency of our home heating and cooling systems, because 39% of our emissions come from these types of systems in our homes. So we can make our homes more comfortable, we can make them more energy efficient, we can save ourselves some money in the long term if we look at changing our home heating and cooling systems. So of course we're going to support this, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? I didn't think so. So once again, this you can tune in to go to sustainablewestchester.org/webinar to register, or call 914-242-4725 extension 122. And I believe you're going to speak with Lauren Broyce if you call that number, and you can register that way as well. We're hoping that we're even going to just have a direct Zoom link that'll be up on our Facebook page, at the Town of Austin Facebook page, the Sustainable Westchester page. So you'll be able to just click on it and open the link if you didn't get to register in advance because you're like one of those last minute people. Okay, with that, let's move along.
Okay, personnel appointment. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin appoints John Edwina Saka, Corlin Manor, to the part-time position of intermediate clerk in the town clerk's office at an hourly rate of $15 effective February 7th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
So Janaeth has been working on a seasonal basis in our town clerk's office, and she has become such an asset to the clerk's office. Can you confirm that, Martha Kudisaka?
Oh, yes,
She can
yes, a lot,
confirm a lot.
a lot. Especially since our office is the only office open, it's been really helpful having a third person there.
Right. Okay. So let's just clarify. You're not the only office open, but you're the
only
on the
physically,
first
yeah,
floor
on the
that
first floor, yeah,
physically people are
physically open to the public, yeah.
But we do have people who are going downstairs regularly to help out. But nevertheless, it has been a very busy season. And with her seasonal appointment coming to a close, we're happy to be making her a more permanent addition to our town team. So thank you to Janaeth for all your hard work. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay. Accepted a proposal, general code, resolved that the town board of the town of Austin authorizes the supervisor to accept the proposal by general code for enhanced supplement services to the town code book at a cost of $2,885.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Our clerk's office works with general code to maintain both the electronic version and paper version of our town code books. For 2021, Our town clerk has streamlined the number of paper copies we maintain, which I understand she's been looking to do for many, many years, even preceding her days as town clerk, as the electronic version is much easier to navigate for most of the town staff. And this proposal addresses these changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, acceptance of proposal, Daniel G. Vincelette, PC. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin authorizes the supervisor to accept the proposal by Daniel G. Vincelette, PC, Albany, New York, dated January 18th, 2021, for legal services related to the tax tertiary proceedings filed against the town of Austin, challenging the assessed value of real property owned by Cedar Manor Acquisitions 1 LLC.
Motion?
So moved.
Move. Second.
So one of our pending tax cert cases is going to trial, and we require special counsel to assist in that process. Mr. Vincelette has worked with us in the past, and he has been an asset in a very complex process. Discussion? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay, contract Tyler Technologies. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with Tyler Technologies, Marine, Ohio, for appraisal services through July 31st, 2021, at a cost not to exceed $20,000, subject to approval by council to the town as to form.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Move.
Second.
This resolution approves our 2021 contract with Tyler Technologies for our annual reassessment. Although we are not undertaking a full reappraisal this year, we still need to engage Tyler for the annual process of maintaining our role at full value. All those in favor or any discussion, questions? Okay, all those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Contract Dolph Rothfield Engineers. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with Dolph Rothfield and AI Engineers Company, Elmsford, New York, for construction administration services on the McCarthy Drive Road. I think this was McCarthy Drive, right, Victoria?
Yes. McCarthy Drive.
The McCarthy Drive.
Road.
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 So
Oh,
it's,
road. Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
okay.
Yeah, we had a little bit of trouble with some of the resolutions.
I know. Yeah, so
Okay, so this okay. So this one's correct. Okay, so New York for construction administration services on the McCarthy Drive Road rehabilitation and water main replacement with hourly rates for necessary personnel set forth in the proposal dated December 23rd, 2020, at an estimated total cost of $150,800, subject to approval by the council to the town as to form.
Do you have a motion?
So move.
Second.
So our last McCarthy Drive resolution for the evening is to enter into a contract with Dolph Rothfeld Engineers for construction administration. This firm developed the plans and they will be on hand full-time to monitor the construction and ensure this complex project goes off without a hitch. Discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Town planning consultant Nelson Pope and Boyers LLC. Resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute an agreement retaining Nelson Pope and Boris LLC as a town planning consultant for 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
move. Second.
So I'm sorry she's not with us any longer at this part of the meeting, but our town planner, Valerie Monastra, comes from the firm of Nelson Pope and Voorhees. And in her first year, she has proven to be extremely valuable, helpful, and hardworking. And we look forward to another year with Valerie. Questions, comments, discussion?
Oh, she's been great.
Fantastic. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, with that, we have visitor recognition. If there's anybody here to address the board, you have 4 minutes to speak to us. And I see one attendee. I don't know if you're interested in having anything to say, Mr. Conway, but if so, raise your virtual hand and we will recognize you. Well, if not, I'm going to give you another minute. If you don't know how to do that for whatever reason, I'm guessing you do, but if you don't, it's in the participant screen, I believe, that you can click. Although actually, maybe they moved it. They moved it. Now it's just raise hand in the middle of the bottom bar, depending on what kind of computer you have. And not seeing or hearing any comments from our visitor, we thank you for coming and attending. And I would ask for a motion to adjourn to executive session for personnel, advice of counsel, and contracts.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Our next meeting will be a work session on Tuesday, February 2nd at 7:30 p.m. As usual, in this time of COVID, you can join us via Zoom or dial in by phone. Information for each meeting is posted on our website each Friday and included in my supervisor's update. Have a great week, everybody. Please stay safe in the snow, and we will see you next week. Good night.